Hey everyone, it's Tuesday night, and I think last night or last week sometime, a Reddit leak dropped with news from the Last Jedi Novelization, and in that we learned some new stuff about Snoke, about Luke Skywalker, and about the much loved, hated, this thing that is tearing the Star Wars universe apart, Reylo. So all of that is apparently in this novel. I will be getting this novel next Tuesday. I've already pre-ordered it, so it should show up on my e-reader like at midnight that night or whatever, and I will read it as soon as I can. I'll talk about it probably a bit here, but also go to my Rebel Scum podcast YouTube channel. We'll be talking about these things and more on this week's episode. So much going on. Jabba's going to be in Han Solo, I swear to you. We're going to talk about that over there. I'm not going to talk about it here, but I'm pretty confident that Jabba the Hutt will be making his way into the Han Solo film. Let's start off with Snoke. Supreme Leader Snoke. Snoke. Not much was known about him. Then he got killed off. Pissed a lot of people off. They're billing this novelization by Jason Fry as the extended edition of The Last Jedi because there is no extended edition of The Last Jedi shot. The Last Jedi is very split down the middle. I mean, a lot of people, the haters like to think that more people hate it, and the lovers like to think more people love it. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, it is split right down the middle. Whether you like it or not, there are faults and there are unanswered questions. And one of those is obviously Snoke. And my issue with Snoke has always been, versus Palpatine in the originals, the issue that I've always had is, this takes place after we have a history. Return of the Jedi, there's no history. We have no history in New Hope. We have no history in Empire Strikes Back. That's all we have. But now we have 6 movies, and this Snoke figure has never showed up, and you just spring him on us with no explanation. So that was my issue. So now this novel is giving us an explanation, and it seems like a bit of a doozy. His backstory is explained. Look, Sheev Palpatine, Emperor Palpatine from Episode 1 until Episode 6 knew of Snoke's existence. The First Order was never meant to be led by Supreme Leader Snoke. Again, this is all coming from that leak. If it's fake, I don't know. Excuse me, getting over a cold. So, look, Supreme Leader Snoke was known by Sheev Palpatine. The First Order was conceived by Sheev Palpatine, Operation Cinder. This was his contingency plan. It was meant to be led by Hux, Hux's father, Phasma, probably somewhere along there, and Gallius Rax. Gallius Rax, of course, dies, and somehow Snoke, we don't know how, somehow Snoke became the leader of the First Order. He's very powerful in the Force. We see that. Now, what's cool about this is he was in the unknown regions, and he learned a lot about the Force from the unknown regions. He knows that Force visions are incomplete. He knows all this. He's very wise, very smart. He learned a lot of knowledge. I did an episode on the Rebel Scum podcast with Andrew Fantasia. Check out his channel too, Andrew Fantasia, where we did about Rebels, our I Rebel show, where we recap Rebels. We talk about Palpatine and how smart Palpatine was in the Force, and how he knew the history of the Force. He probably did all of his research, and he knew all the ins and outs, but there were pieces that he couldn't figure out. And Snoke seems to be on that wavelength, where he's gone to the unknown regions and he learned things out there that he couldn't quite get over here. Now, so the question is, where did he come from, and how did he accidentally get a hold of the First Order and take over it? Because that was never his goal. He used Hux, Little Hux, Armitage Hux, Brendel Hux's father, Armitage Hux the son, which is Domhnall Gleeson in the movies, used him as like his way of power, I suppose. He used him to kind of be his right-hand man and tricked him into doing what he wanted. So that's an interesting piece. That will that play out in Episode 9? Will Hux, now that Snoke's gone, Hux might learn the truth about Snoke using him and see Kylo and be like, Kylo, bro, you're not my bro, and then move on from that. That's a huge possibility. And also Snoke's talking of Kylo Ren in this is also, and this is nothing really new, but he knew Kylo Ren was destined for greatness, but he was destined for greatness if he could embrace the dark side. And again, this goes to maybe Snoke wanted Kylo to kill him. If Snoke was never meant to be the leader of the First Order, and he knew that and respected that, and he learned all of this crap from the unknown regions, He learned so much about the Force. He knows more about the Force than possibly Luke Skywalker, than Yoda, than, maybe he's Bendu level. We don't know. But if he learns all of this, but he sees Ben Solo and he knows Anakin Skywalker and he knows Luke is not going to go down that path. But Ben is destined for greatness. We don't know what that greatness is. And if he's destined for greatness, but he needs to embrace the dark side, there is a very good possibility that Snoke allowed Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, to strike him down. He was not surprised by it. Sure, his face looks like he was surprised. And maybe at that moment he was like, oh, he actually went through with it. And then he died. But Snoke might be so powerful that he'll be like, I have to sacrifice myself for the greater good of this person, of this Force wielder, so that he can live up to his potential. And that is something that I think could be explored with Snoke. We can get that in books. Episode 9 might deal with that. But like I said, books, comics, whatever, there is more to Snoke, and that excites me. And knowing that there is a plan in place is all we really need right now, and this kind of helps out with that to a larger degree. Let's talk Luke Skywalker. Not much new about Luke here. We learned that he dreams about having a wife, doesn't actually have a wife, but dreamt about having a wife. And I'm looking at this like, is Lucasfilm like taking this and saying the Mara Jade stuff and all of the EU, a lot of the EU, let's put that in like a dream world, and like Luke dreamt all that. Maybe they'll change it from legends to dreams, but like all that stuff happened in Luke's mind, and that's an alternate world that could have been had Luke turned left instead of right one day. And also Luke and Snoke met, and we don't know if Snoke was evil, because he wasn't always evil in the Force. Snoke, I should point that out. But Luke and Snoke met, and Snoke respected Luke's appreciation and respect and willingness to learn the lore of the Force. And this could be the beginnings of Snoke's villainy right here, is learning Luke, and maybe Snoke knows something about the dark side that nobody really knows yet, or maybe Palpatine knew it, but the dark side, and then Palpatine maybe got so obsessed with his own power that he lost sight of the end game, and Snoke never did. So there's a lot of possibilities here. The Luke Skywalker thing, the dream is what I think that's more like a fan service thing to show you that no, it's not happening. I know a lot of people are like, no, Rey is the daughter, because that actually happened, and Rey is going to be the daughter of Luke Skywalker. I would put that all to rest right now because of the next topic I got to bring up, and that is good old Reylo. Who doesn't love Reylo? Half of you love it, half of you hate it. It's basically just like The Last Jedi, right down the middle. How can you not love Reylo? Look, Reylo was something that was obviously shipped online. A group of people were like, oh, I hope they get together. That scene was hot, and they shipped them. And I'm not saying that's what it is. It obviously, when you break it down and you start to look at what Reylo is, you're like, oh, damn, it's more than just a shipping. This is a plot line. Right? This is a plot line. And again, in this novelization, we get more confirmation that Reylo is a thing. Now, I don't think it's going to be Twilight, like a lot of people complain. It's not going to be The Notebook. It's not going to be a giant love story. And we see that. If it was going to be this giant love story, I really think The Last Jedi is where we would have got that, but we didn't get it. We got something else. We got moments, and the book adds to those moments. When Rey comes down in her escape pod and lands on the ship in the novelization, Kylo Ren smiles. He likes that Rey's there. He loves that he's here. And Rey, while they're walking to go see Snoke, notices that the conflict within Kylo Ren is not just the dark side and light side, but she is an aspect of that conflict. She is creating more conflict within him. So there's a lot to Reylo. If you break it down, I've done videos on the Rebel Scum podcast channel about Reylo. I've done videos on the Den of Nerds channel about Reylo, and is it Beauty and Beast in space? Is it that simple? I don't think it is that simple. I think there is more complex. And I've always said, I love Ninja Turtles. I do the Ninja Turtle show every Thursday, and I've always said the new Ninja Turtle movie, what really the weak moment was Shredder versus Splinter in that movie. There's no emotional weight. There's no connection. Those characters have nothing to do with each other. And so when they fight, I don't care. I'm watching two CG things go, and I don't care. And the thing with Rey and Kylo Ren in the Force and the Force Awakens, I do care, but I don't care as much as Obi-Wan and Vader. I don't care as much as Obi-Wan and Anakin. I don't care as much as Maul and Qui-Gon, but it's there. You're right there, and I always thought, what is the emotional impact going to be? And then in my head, because it's Star Wars, and look, I'm guilty of it, of course, and because they're like, we're going to follow the kids and blah blah blah. I always thought, well, she is, a Skywalker or Solo. So when I'm watching that scene, that's where my head's at. I'm like, well, they're related, so that adds some weight. But when you find out that they're not, the weight's kind of gone. So if the emotional impact is not relation, it could be a romantic connection, and they don't have to come out and make them all kissing and hugging and like the fan art, which is great fan art, by the way. But you don't need to see all of that. It could just be like, I have feelings for you. I can't help the way I feel, and because I feel like that, I don't want to strike you down. And on the other side, it's like, I feel the same way, but you are a problem, and we've got to deal with this. And so that's going to make conflict. And if you think the fight at the end could be insane, if that is the weight that is being carried through it, because they both need to kill each other. There's speculation, obviously, but if they both need to strike each other down and kill each other, they're not going to want to. They're not going to want to because of the way they feel about each other. Emotion is a strong thing. Love is a strong thing. And it's as strong as the Force, you could argue. You could argue that the original trilogy is about love conquering all. The love that Luke has for his father is what saves his father, and the love his father has for his son is what gets rid of the Emperor. That is really... So love is actually the foundation. Love brings Anakin to the dark side. Love is so crucial to Star Wars. And with all the mistakes you could say The Last Jedi made, and all the mistakes you could say the sequel trilogy has made, all the mistakes you could say whatever has made, because nobody's ever happy. But there are mistakes that were made. But I think at the end of the day, that is really what carries Star Wars. And if they follow through on that plan, if that is their plan all along, and they follow through, I think we are in for a terrific finale to the Star Wars saga. I think to the Skywalker saga, I should say, because like I said, the fight, like the moment between them will be just as strong as if they were brother and sister. More strong, I would say, than if they were cousins. I think this is how you bring it home. I think J.J. Abrams, the brilliant thing about having J.J. Abrams come in and do 9 is he started this. And however he started it, he had to have some inkling of how he wanted it to end. And now he gets a chance to do that, to take this home and create a finale for Star Wars, the Skywalker saga. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you like the new Snoke stuff? Do you like that little bit of Luke Skywalker detail we got? Are you into Reylo? Yes or no? Do you think Reylo's done after Episode 9? I think it continues. Like I said, I think you have to continue it going on because you need emotional weight. And the emotional weight just can't be, I'm a good guy, you're a bad guy, let's duke it out. There has to be something more there. There have to be stakes. Star Wars is all about that. That's what I think. Thanks so much, guys, for watching this channel. Please give us a like. Subscribe to Digital Charcuterie. It would really, really help us out. Thank you so much. Until next time, see ya.